I was looking with that Armstrong. We the band, man. I'm out chasing dreams, probably with the Sandman. They shift gramming and Trans Am on the low doing hand to hands.
The Hatches Way Podcast, Season 2. We in here cooking up a storm. Oh, let's go. Hope you guys have been enjoying Season 2. Hit the links below to check out what's in store and how you can support and become part of our community. We would love to have you. So it's Season 2, right? We had Big Bag Bellard. That boy good. We had Jalen, full-time entrepreneur Clark, and a bunch of other great guests. So shout out to them. And this boy is stupid right here. 65 fucking units.
Damn.
Started under 4 years ago.
Damn.
The real AQ. He went there. Arkansas's mogul, internet court seller, 10 plus bands a month. He said it. He'll tell you how he did it. All around cool ass dude, father, husband. Flew in from the Arkansas for this. I appreciate that. Henry. Good to meet you, sir, in person. We met during the Black Men Building Wealth Conference that Todd Cap, what up, T? And I put on 2 years ago. But 2 years ago. Yeah. A lot of fun, and we stayed in contact ever since. He helped teach on a couple of my platforms, and it's honored to have him here. Henry, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, bud. I'm doing well. I appreciate this, man. It's
my man. Tell the people who you are.
Yeah, man. Henry Washington. Was born and raised in California, but I spent the last 10 years or so in the Northwest Arkansas market. As he said, I've got 65 rental doors. I've got online courses teaching people how to invest in real estate. I've just really got a passion for not just building my community, but teaching other people how they can achieve financial freedom through real estate investments, man. It's been life-changing.
So when we hear 65 units, we're thinking like, that's a lot of units. In under 4 years, how did you get your first?
Oh, man, first one. Man. So my very first property, let's see, so we'll rewind. It was 3 years and 10 months ago.
Okay.
It's about the time frame. And my wife and I, we got married real quick. So
how quick was real quick?
365 days to the day.
You met her and it was married in under a year?
I met her and was married on that same day we met a year later.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Union.
And so, prior to being married, single guy, good job, 6-figure income,
pressure,
no financial education. So I spent a 6-figure income.
Okay, well. That happens. Unpressure.
Right. So, that made it tough. Cool when you're single, you don't got nobody else to look out for. You figure it out. But when you married and your wife starts talking about how many kids we gonna have and what's our dream home gonna look like.
How you thinking about stuff, huh?
Yeah, man. It was just like I just realized I couldn't afford any of that. Like we'd actually bought a home together, and I say together, the bank wouldn't let me be on a loan because my credit was so bad, and so just that's kind of a blow. As a male, you want to be a provider.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
And then you can't even you can't even be on a loan. So super embarrassed about that. And then we start having these conversations, and I'm like, man, I couldn't even help you get to this house. How am I gonna get you to the dream house? And so after we was having those conversations one night, I woke up 3 a.m, panic attack, and just scared, right? Didn't know how I was going to provide for my family, so I did what anybody does at 3 a.m. when they have a panic attack about money. You start Googling, how do you make more money?
That's, right?
And so I just kept seeing articles about real estate. I kept seeing videos about real estate, and the main video that caught my attention was it was a video called how to design your dream life through passive income. Like I remember it.
That's a catchy title.
Right. And it was a kid, 20-something-year-old kid, had 25 doors. He was financially free, and he was just talking about, how he did that. And my brain went to like, well, if he can do this, like I can figure this out. I can figure this out. And so I just decided in that moment that, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And I went back to sleep. Cool. Slept fine. Woke up the next day, talked to a friend of mine that was a broker, and said, hey, I want to invest in real estate. Point me in the right direction. She gave me a box of books, and I got the Bible. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
There we go. There we go.
And read through that, changed my perspective on not just business but money. And I just started making adjustments. First adjustment I made was I fixed my credit, right? I went and paid somebody to help fix my credit.
Smart.
Paid off some things I didn't think I should have had to pay off, but I did it anyway because I had goals. Right?
That's big.
And so I was doing that. I changed the way I treated money. And so I was, like I said, I was getting a check and spending a check. So we stopped doing that. I immediately just started paying myself first. So 10% of everything my wife and I made went into a savings account. And that just shifts your mindset in general as you're going to start becoming an investor, or you're going to start working towards goals. Like being able to see my money start to build up, you start taking pride in that. And so I was putting 10% away, but as I started to see that account grow, like now, if I made a little extra money doing something, instead of going and blowing it on something,
put
I
it
was
in the
like,
account.
Let me go throw it in this account. Let's see how big I can get it, right? It just
Saving
changed
can
my
get
perspective.
addictive, yeah.
And then I also started, the other mindset shift we made is I just started telling people I was a real estate investor. I didn't have no money besides what we were putting in savings. I didn't have no, no credit. My credit was being worked on, right? Never bought a property, but I wanted to put the energy out there that I was a real estate investor because I feel like you get what you give in this world. And so I wanted to put out, I'm an investor, wanted to tell people I was an investor because I wanted people to see me as that because that's in my mind what I was. And so that's how I got my first deal, man. And so my buddy, a good buddy of mine, was in a tough spot with a house that he owned. He had somebody living in it. So the story goes, he moved out of the house, let a buddy live in it. The buddy was supposed to be getting his credit right so he could buy the house. So the dude was only paying the mortgage payment. So my man wasn't making any money off the guy living there. My man had moved out of that house because he was living in a situation where he was living for free for a year because he was saving money because he was going to buy this big piece of property for him and his family.
Makes sense.
So it got time for him to buy that property. He needed to sell his house to do it, and my man wasn't ready to buy it.
Okay.
So he had heard at that same time that I was buying property, so he came to me and he was like, hey, come by my house. Here's what I need to sell it for. And I was like, sure, I'll buy your house.
There we go.
Again, didn't have the money to buy it. Credit was getting there, but I told him I would do it. The numbers worked out. It was a good deal. And
How much was it?
It was $115,000 was the purchase price. The house was worth $145 at that same moment. So he knew he was selling me a good deal.
Automatic victory.
Yeah, automatic equity.
That you want to become your own boss. You need to supplement your income with part-time work. And you're a serial entrepreneur who wants to start another business with low startup costs. Well, you need to come and join the 2 to 12K Club today. We will teach you how to start this business for only $500, how to effectively market your services, how to secure long-term high-paying clients, how to make $60 to $250 per appointment, how to create systems and make money without being at an appointment. And you will get the peace of mind that you can leave any job at any time and start this business. For more details, check out the 2 to 12K Club today. The 2 to 12K Club.com.
Built in the 2000s, so it wasn't a super old home, brick home. It was it was a great home for a first purchase.
Yeah.
And so I had to go figure out how to buy it, right? And
That's important.
That's the first lesson of entrepreneurship, right? Is entrepreneurs say, "How can I?" They don't say, "I can't," right?
That's cool.
And I learned that because really the hard way, because I was trying to figure out how to buy this house, and I went through all the things I knew to do, right? What could I sell? How could I get enough? Because I needed 20 grand. I had 1,000.
Okay.
So I needed 19 grand to close on this house.
Okay.
And I was like, what can I sell? I didn't have 19 grand worth of stuff to sell. Like I couldn't come up with enough. And so I called another local investor, a friend of mine at the time, and was like, hey, I told my buddy I was going to buy his house. I can't find the money. I think you should buy it. I know it's a good deal. I just want to help him. And that's that lesson I got. Cause he said, hey, Henry, this is a great deal. I would love to buy it. He was like, but you need to figure it out. Like, if you're going to be successful in this, you need to figure out how
That's
to
a good
buy it.
friend.
It's a good friend. We're business partners now.
I want to go in on that. Yeah. So he didn't just take the deal from you and said, okay, cool, thanks, or even take it and give you a finder's fee. He said, you need to do this for your own manhood or dignity, or whatever word you want, or both.
Right.
That's real.
Yeah.
Shout out to the friend.
And so he sat there and we brainstormed for a couple of days just on phone calls, and he threw the idea out of a 401k loan, and I was like, I didn't know you could take a loan on a 401k. I thought you had to cash it out or not.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I think you can borrow against it. And so we reached out to I didn't have a 401k. My wife did. And luckily she trusted me.
Your wife was on point, huh?
My wife was with it the whole time, man. She was with it the
Shout
whole
out to
time.
the wife.
The whole time. Never doubted me.
Shout out to the wife.
Couldn't even be on our first house loan, and she still never doubted me
She
about
still
doing
never
any of this,
doubted
man.
you.
So,
That's real. That's encouragement.
Yeah, man.
So she had a 401k?
She had the 401k. We called the employer. We got the details. And so basically you can borrow out of the 401k without paying a penalty. You just make payments back every month with a little bit of interest, but it's your money.
It's your money.
So
You're
you
borrowing
get the
your money.
interest. And the interest goes back to you. And then the payments are automatically deducted out of the paycheck. So it's not even something you have to think about. It's on automatic pilot.
How did that conversation go with her? Was she like, okay,
She was
let's
hyped.
do it?
Yeah. She was like,
hyped.
let's do it. Say word.
Good wife.
Yeah. She was like, let's do it.
It's power in the union, huh?
Yeah, right. That's right. She was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we literally took a few days.
Okay.
Between when we had the conversation with the employer to when we had the money, and then we closed on the property, and the timing worked out. We closed, I think, at the end of the month, and so I got my first rent check not long after we closed, and it just like the power in like going from an idea, waking up at 3 a.m. scared, to like actually turning it into a check that I got that not only paid for the house and all the expenses of the house, but put some money in our pockets. Like it was mind blowing, man. And that's the light bulb moment. That's when I knew I had to figure out how to do this again over and over again and scale it, because that's kind of the moment when I knew it was going to be more than just a retirement plan for me. This could be something that could change my life immediately.
Oof. So borrowed money from the 401k, put that as a down payment, got the property. How much was the rent on the property when you closed?
Yeah, we raised rent. So he was paying the mortgage.
He said we raised rent.
He was paying the mortgage, which at the time was like $800. So we raised him to 11, which was market rates. We gave him the option, right? Like, because I know that's a big jump. And I was like, look, if you want to take time, look around, you can. And we let him stay, I think, for another month at that same rate.
That's fair.
And let him look around, and then he decided to stay. So we bumped it. We were trying to bump it to 12. We actually agreed on 11.
11. Okay. How much were the monthly payments?
Oh man, you're testing me right now. I think they were close to. So we bought it. We were in for 90 some odd thousand on a 25-year. So I think we were somewhere around 700-800.
Okay. So nice cash flow. Okay. From there, what did your portfolio look like? How did you scale it?
Yeah, man. So kind of at that same time, again, putting that energy out there that I'm an investor, I had a local real estate agent reach out to me who was an investor as well, and said, hey, I've got a deal that would be a pretty good flip if you want to take a look at it. And so we ended up putting this flip under contract kind of during the whole buying process of this other one. And the flip numbers it's still one of my best flips to this day.
To this day,
right?
To this day,
to this day, it's probably it's still one of my best flips.
Damn.
It was a 4-bed, 3-bath, single family home in a really popular part of Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay.
And it was just a unique situation. The lady that was living there was divorced, and she was embarrassed about her house and didn't want people in and out. And the agent who was trying to get it sold for her was having trouble selling it because she wouldn't let people in to see it.
Yeah, okay.
And so he said, well, look, if you don't want me to sell it, on the market, I can probably find an investor, but an investor is going to be willing to pay XYZ, which was about $190 versus what she could sell it for with letting people in there.
Yeah.
And she was like, she owned it free and clear. Her
Just
husband
wanted
gave
it
it to
gone.
her. Her husband had passed. She just wanted it gone. It was, junk everywhere. She was over it. And so she was willing to let me come look one time and give her $190 for it.
Okay.
And so that's what we did. I put it under contract for $190, and it was worth, as it sat, it was worth $260. And then we put 40 into it. I think we ended up probably closer to 45. I think we budgeted 40, spent about 45.
Okay.
And we sold it for $325.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all.
25.
How'd you get the money to finance the property?
Perfect. Because I realized I left that out. So we so I use small bank loans, small local banks, commercial loans for most of the deals that I do.
Okay.
And so what I was able to do is I put that deal under contract for $190. I got the bank to finance 85% of the purchase price and 100% of the renovation. So they gave me the 40 grand that I needed.
And the rehab money.
Right. So all I needed would come up was a 15% down payment, but I didn't have much money yet because I was still working out that other deal too. And so I was able to leverage that same investor who gave me the heads up about how to go ahead and do this because it's what I need to be doing, figure it out. He lent me the down payment at a 10% interest rate. And so I was no money into the deal.
Oh, cold.
Bought it for no money down, flipped it, sold it for $325, paid everybody back, and I
won.
Like 70 grand.
Shit, that's cold. That boy did good. The real HU. Some will call that Howard.
No,
not you.
They should.
Others will call it Hampton. How did you enjoy your experience there?
I loved Hampton, man. Man, I enjoyed it. I was a late bloomer, if you would call it that, with college. So I graduated high school, and then I did 2 years of junior college. Well, I should say I attended a junior college for 2 years. I didn't do much like going to class.
Yeah,
but
I've been there.
I was enrolled. Okay, and then just decided to get my act together. Needed to change it. My junior college was in my hometown. All my old friends. You know, junior college in my hometown was just like high school part 2.
Yeah,
right?
13th grade.
Right.
Yep.
So I decided I needed to go and do something out of state, and so I ended up going to Hampton. My parents went to Hampton, so I had legacy there, so I was able to just get in.
There you go.
My mom just had to send a letter. And
Sweet.
So I was enrolled, went to Hampton. They're private schools, so they didn't accept a lot of the credits that I had. The few credits I did get in junior college they wouldn't take, so I really had to start over.
Okay.
So I did 4 years in Hampton. I was a little, like I said, I was a little older than everybody else, but that was good for me. I think I needed that maturity.
That's what's up.
To get through it, because I went through, did my 4 years. Man, I had a blast. I just never been around that many people that looked like me.
Yeah.
That were on a positive vibe. Like it just wasn't like that where I was from.
Good for you.
And so it was one of the best experiences of my life, man.
And after school, and I'm a big fan of leaving your hometown too, which I probably talk about in every friggin' episode. I'm a big fan of doing it, even for a few years. I'm a huge advocate of it. After that, did you go back to the West Coast, California, or Arkansas?
No,
man.
You do? I graduated from Hampton, and it's a big. Virginia's just got a big military presence, and so I had an IT background, a computer information systems major, and so I started working for government contractors, doing software development and modeling and simulation type work for the Navy. Did some work for NATO, NAVSEA, NAVAIR. So it was really cool experience, really cool kind of work. You know, got my little government security clearance. Thought I was cool. Thought I was Mission Impossible.
Okay. That's what's up.
And then and then I got a call from Walmart out of the blue. They had
paperwork. Most people hate paperwork, but I get paid to make it official. If you're looking for a pandemic-proof, low startup cost business that'll help you leave your 9 to 5 and make more money, I can help you out with that. I was overworked, underpaid, y'all, working as a teacher's assistant. But then I found a pandemic-proof business, the mobile notary business, that allowed me to quit my 9 to 5, 10x my income, and give me time freedom. I am Andre C. Hatchett, 15-year mobile notary veteran and founder of the Notary Business School. We have helped thousands of people from all over the country start and grow their business. I have a 2 through 12K club where I show people just like you how to make between $2,000 and $12,000 a month. Click the link below and I'll show you how.
Yeah, man, the headhunter, he kind of told me about the job, and I was like, man, the job sounds great. He was like, well, would you want to come to Arkansas to interview? And I was like, nah, I don't.
That's not really going to cut
I
it.
don't want to do that
Okay.
at all. And so, but I have a rule about interviews, right? And my rule is if you get the opportunity to interview, you should always take it, whether you think you want the job or not. You don't understand. You're not going to fully understand an opportunity until an offer is presented to you or not. And then B, it's just phenomenal practice. Like if you're in that 9 to 5 world, interviews are how you get jobs, and the best way to practice interviewing
is to go on interviews.
And so I never turned them down. So I agreed to do the interview, and everything went well. And when I got back, headhunter called me again, He was a black guy, and he was like, "Hey man, so what do you think? You ready to move to Arkansas?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not moving to Arkansas." And it cracked me up because he like completely broke character from his recruiter job because he knew I was black. His job was to recruit black people, so he knew I was black.
Okay,
I could tell he was black, and he's like, he just completely broke down. He was like, "Bro, look, man, you need to go ahead and go out here to Walmart, man. They're paying people like kings. The cost of living there is half of what it costs you to live where you at right now. They're going to pay you more than you're currently making. It's like getting 2 raises. Just move out
Kinda
there,
right.
stack your bread for a year. If you don't like it, move back." And I was like,
makes sense.
I can't argue with that logic. And so, I mean, and they were going to pay me to do exactly what I was trained to do. And so everything aligned. And I jumped off the cliff and went, man, and been there for 10 years.
Shout out to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would have gotten into real estate to the level you're at if you didn't? Okay, you know where I'm going with this one.
Absolutely. I mean, I got a whole story, man. Like, I learned along the way through just a series of things that had happened in my life that like God's plan was to get me to Arkansas to get me to build my relationship with him.
That's deep.
Right. And as I built my relationship with God, I started to really fix the money issues and the other issues that were in my life. Right. Because I was in a not a great financial position. Obviously, I talked about that before, but I was in an even worse financial position before that. And I really, once I moved to Arkansas, I just started kind of going down this path of like fixing all these things in my life to when I got to the point to where real estate needed to be a big part of my life, I was ready to do it.
Steve.
And so like, there's no doubt in my mind that like I wouldn't
what you
be on
needed.
this path if I wasn't there.
Shout out to Arkansas. Shout out to God. On a low end, what's your lowest rental apartment or house?
Sure.
What's your highest?
Yeah, man, I've got a 1 bed, 1 bath, single family home that rents for $700 a month.
They make 1 bedroom, 1 bath, single family homes.
Yeah, man, I have 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got 2 of them. Maybe I have 3 of them.
Rich people, I love how rich people live. I don't know how many houses I got. I got 50. Shout out to rich people. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, it rents for $700 a month. And then I have a 4 bed, 5 bed, 2.5 bath, like 2,400 square foot house that rents for $2,200 a month.
Nice. Are all your houses in Arkansas?
All of them are in Arkansas.
How do you manage these?
I manage the majority of the units myself.
So, like, if something goes wrong, they'll text you or call you?
Yeah, up until about 2 weeks ago, yes. I've hired my sister-in-law actually works for us now, and she's taking over the property management aspect of the business. But yeah, up until then, they would text me. But there's just with the technology we have out there as far as property management systems, and I'm not like handy.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like,
not either.
If shit breaks,
You got to call somebody
I'm
anyway.
not your guy.
Yeah.
I gotta call somebody anyway.
Yeah.
And so it didn't hurt me to just forward a text message to whoever I needed to forward a text message to because I couldn't go fix it.
But
It wasn't a ton of work. And then like tenant selection is huge. Like if you're a landlord, you got to get great at tenant selection if you want to be successful. And a part of picking the right tenants, if you pick the right tenants, you get bothered less. So
Sweet. So how did we get to this number? Are there some apartment buildings in this mix? Or
my largest property is a 12 unit.
Sweet.
So I've got a 12 unit, an 8 unit, a 5 unit.
So that's 25 right
unit.
there. Almost 30, 29. Okay.
Several duplexes and some singles.
What's your favorite?
That's a great question. I've never been asked that question.
The Hatchway Podcast, exclusive questions nobody asked.
My favorite, we've got 4 duplexes all on one street. It's a cul-de-sac, and then there's only 2 other houses on that street that aren't part of that. Okay. And so we pretty much own most of the street.
You bought back the block?
Bought back the block. And it was it was a rough area, mainly because of the properties that we bought were in such rough shape. But we got it at such a great deal. It was a great find, man.
Off market.
We had done some driving for dollars, found the owner of this property, and just kind of, we hustled the whole thing. So we were driving for dollars, found a property that looked distressed, and then was going to mail the owner. And then when I was looking up the information to mail the owner, I just happened to look at the deed, and I saw on the deed that the title company that closed the deal was the same title company I used. So I called my closing lady, and I was like, "Hey, do you know so and so?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, I know them." I was like, "Man, they got this apartment building. I'd like to talk to them about it." She was like, "Oh, I'll set it up."
Oh shoot.
She called, she set it up. We went and had lunch with the guy. He walked us through it. He let us look at it all. Nice. And he ended up wanting too much for it. And so like the meeting was just, whatever, it didn't work out. And then before we left, we were like, "Hey man, you got anything else you would sell?" And he was like, "It's like, man, I got a few duplexes, but you don't want those." And I was like, "Sounds like we do." Sounds like exactly what we want. And he was like, "Nah, man, they're real bad." And we were like, "Oh, yeah, that's 100% what we want."
That's my love language.
right. And so we went. He didn't even want to go look at them with us. He just sent us out there. He was like, "Look, man, you can go look at them, and you don't even need keys. The doors are just, if you got a power drill, you can get in there." Right? Like the doors were screwed shut. It was rough, man. It was rough stuff. So we went out there, we looked at it, and he basically said, "Look, man, if you can give me enough to pay back the bank, then I'm good." And so he needed $200,000.
Okay.
4 duplexes, 2 empty lots.
Damn.
So it was 6 duplexes, but drugs are bad, and so 6 became 2. 6 became 4 because those burned down. So we have 4 duplexes for $200,000. We've got about 150,000 into it as a rehab, and we're getting $800 or so bucks a door out of those. And we only have 3 of them completed, so we're cash flowing
3,200 right there.
And we're not even fully.
You're not even fully done with it.
Fully done with it yet.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, man.
Are all of your deals off market?
Most every deal has been off market.
Okay.
I've only done, I think, 2 deals that have been on the MLS. Everything has come through marketing, direct mail, or word of mouth, all off market.
So, on your journey, have you taken out home equity loans?
Oh man,
refinanced, cashed out, all this?
All those things. I've done them all. So that first rental, I really credit to helping me get started. Because after I bought it and I raised the rents, I told you I bought it for $115. It was worth $140.
Yep.
So I took out a line of credit on that equity, and so I was able to leverage that equity, and I would use that to either burr other properties or flip. So I was basically rinsing and repeating the same 20 grand to just keep buying more
keep
property.
It going.
And so I scaled heavily using that property until the point where I sold it. I ended up selling it for like $175 a couple of years later.
Sweet. What's a line of credit for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, man. So a line of credit. So there's a cash out refi, which you mentioned, and there's home equity line of credit, right? The difference between the two. So when you're doing a home equity line of credit, that's when you take the difference between what you owe and what the house is worth, and then a bank will let you leverage that equity, and they'll give you a loan against it.
A loan against the equity,
and it's usually for a percentage of it. So they'll say, so let's say your home is worth $200 and you owe $100. So you got $100,000 worth of equity. The bank will say, okay, I'll give you access to 75 or 80% of that, right?
Yeah.
And so now you got 75 to 80 grand you can play with to go invest in another property. And you're paying interest only payments on that money every month. But only interest on what you have out. So if you only borrow 20 of it, that's all you're paying.
That's what you're paying interest on.
Monthly interest on. So it's an inexpensive way to get access to equity. Versus a cash out refi is if your house is worth 200 and you owe 100, you can refinance that house for a higher amount. So you can go to the bank and say, I want a new loan for 150,000.
Yeah.
And you only owe 100, and so they'll give you $50,000 at closing, which is tax free, by the way. That's just your money. That
Good stuff.
Do whatever you want with.
One of the great things about property are these kind of things. Right. You could borrow money and still own the asset.
Yeah, absolutely.
And use the rental income to pay off that.
Right. To go buy more assets.
To go buy more assets.
To do it again.
So out of the driving for dollars, the bird dog, is that what it's called? Bird dog strategy?
Bird dogging, yep.
Bird dogging, mailing out the flyers,
yep.
Cold calling. What's giving you the biggest return?
Direct mail.
Direct mail. A mailer. Hi, I want to buy your house.
Hi, I'm Henry. I want to buy your house at 123 Main Street. I'll pay your closing costs. You don't
Close
have to
in
make any
14
repairs.
days.
Give me a call. Send me a text message. That's literally what my mail says.
Damn.
Nothing fancy.
You still do those now?
Yes, sir.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you have large amount of rental income coming in. Do you still have a 9 to 5?
I do not have a 9 to 5 anymore. I
Shout out to
retired about 2 months ago.
Congrats on that.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
that?
it. Appreciate
J Money.
it.
Thank you, sir. How does it feel?
It feels great. It feels great. I get to do stuff like this with you in the middle of the week.
Random week.
Yeah,
2-day notice.
3
maybe
notice.
3.
Yeah, just come,
Thank you for
pop
coming.
up and do stuff like this. I get to spend time with my family. You know, I've got young kids, and it's just cool to think that, like, you know, they're never gonna remember dad that had to get up and go to work every day. And
That's
that
good.
means a lot to me.
Yeah. So you're married. Shout out to you being married. Shout out to your wife.
Yep.
Marriage can go great.
Yep.
It can go in between, and it can go not great.
Absolutely.
Even rich people, the most people in the world have gotten divorced.
Right.
Are you a proponent of marriage?
Absolutely. 100%.
Really, even with all the risks?
Yeah. Marriage has got, yes.
Why?
Man, having someone who is always there to support you, who is always there to speak positivity into your life,
That's deep.
right? To believe in you when you don't believe in yourself, lifting each other up consistently, man. It's a cheat code to life, man. That positivity in your life can make you feel like you can move mountains, man.
Ooh.
And she's never doubted me, never. Sure, she's had questions about things or wants to talk about risk, but
That's
it's never
fair.
from a perspective of, I don't think you can do this. It's just, let's understand what we're getting into and let's make an educated decision. I wouldn't be here at 65 Doors, without my partner, right? With being there to support me, because there's been a couple of times where I wasn't going to go forward anymore, man, to be honest with you.
Real estate can be
I
real.
can think of 2 times specifically when I was just like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. And she talked me off the ledge and told me to get back in there. You got a goal, you got dreams, you need to go do it. And so having the right partner, man, being, you got to pick the right partner, man. It's you can't pick anybody. You don't want to have kids with the wrong person.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
And you don't want to marry the wrong person. You gotta have similar goals, but you also have to be aligned in, right, your big buckets, right? And for us that's morals, spirituality, right? The things that you're not gonna budge on. You guys have to be aligned on.
Whew, deep stuff. Thank you for that. So with that being said, what are 3 to 5 things you would tell your son or your nephew to look for in a wife? The must-have 3 to 5 things.
Wow. Yeah, man.
We potting today or what?
You know what? There's a guy I used to work with when I had my 9 to 5. We were talking about marriage and things like this, and he said something to me that's always stuck with me about picking a mate. And he said, man, you got to be aligned on your core goals. It was like, you can't fix stupid and you can't fix lazy. and it just made me think, and I was like, those habits are things that are hard to break in people. And so, I would say, again, I'm just gonna harp on the fact that, like, I think so many people, kind of get infatuated or fall in lust with someone, right? And their infatuation makes them overlook things that in your core you're not going to be able to get through or get past. You're not going to move or budge on.
That you want to become your own boss. You need to supplement your income with part-time work. And you're a serial entrepreneur who wants to start another business with low startup costs. Well, you need to come and join the 2 to 12K club today. We will teach you how to start this business for only $500, how to effectively market your services, how to secure long-term high-paying clients, how to make 6 $60 to $250 per appointment, how to create systems and make money without being at an appointment. And you will get the peace of mind that you can leave any job at any time and start this business. For more details, check out the 2 to 12K Club today. The 2 to 12KClub.com.
And so you got to be honest with yourself on the front side about those things before you get too tied up in those emotions.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to make it harder because you're going to split ways if you're not aligned on your core. So your core values and your core principles have to be aligned. That's the first thing I tell my kids. Right, those things that you're not going to budge on, right? Or even if you think you are,
it's going to come back to you.
It's in you. It's a part of you. It's going to come back up, and you're not going to want to budge on those things. And then you want someone who uplifts you, who speaks positivity into you. I see so many couples and marriages where people, they just talk crazy to each other. And sure, some people think, that's just how we do it. That just works for us. I'm sure it does for a period of time, right? But at some point, I just don't think that that's sustainable.
It gets
a sustainable way to have a relationship. And so you want somebody who sees the best in you, even when you can't see the best in you, who believes more in you than even sometimes you can believe in yourself. Because we all, entrepreneurship, man, is this roller coaster.
Wild
man. There's high highs and super low lows.
Wild
and you
stuff.
need somebody to balance you out, to kind of help you see reality. Both when you're really high, they got to bring you back to reality,
really low.
right? And when you're really low, pulling you up out of those things, right? And if you don't have somebody who speak positivity and speak truth to you, no matter what, and I think that's I think you're getting yourself into some trouble.
Thank you for the wisdom.
Yeah, man.
Henry, the marriage consultant.
Oh, man.
How are you enjoying the online IP course creation consulting world?
Man, I like it. It was never something I intended to be a thing. I built courses really just to stop answering the same questions over and over again. You get the DMs and you get the questions, and
it can be a bit much.
And I would try to answer and help as many people as I could. And I just kept getting the same questions, which was people wanted to know how I'm finding all my deals, how I'm financing all these deals, right? When I didn't have a lot of money to start out with, and so those are the 2 courses that I first created, just as a means to say, hey, and I put them really low ticket because I didn't want people to have to go pay a ton.
How much are
they? They're $147 right now.
Okay.
Because we've raised the price, but we're running sales all the time, man.
Okay.
And so somewhere between $40 and $50 usually you can snag it if you're paying attention.
Oh. Yeah, that's a fair price.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point people somewhere for them to say, hey, here, go digest the information, and if you have questions, come back to me and we'll talk about it, right? And I never expected it to take off, and then social media just kind of took off, and the course sales took off, and it's been good.
How much you average in a month?
We're somewhere between 10 and 15 a month right now.
Congrats on that.
I appreciate it.
How long ago did you start your first one?
Oh gosh, we released the first course maybe 6 months ago. We released our first course, and it was, like I said, it wasn't something we were intending to be a thing. We were probably doing about $1,000 a month at that time, which I was ecstatic about.
You say we a lot. Who's your we?
My wife.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
Shout out to having a we.
This is an us thing.
That's an us thing.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it. How are you spending your newfound wealth?
Oh man, the course money is great. It wasn't something I was ever intending to have as a stream of income like that, and so I reinvest all of it. I put it all in the stock market.
How you like the stocks?
I like the stock market game, man. I just like I said, with real estate, you start becoming smarter about your money, and I'd always been a real estate guy. Like I was like, I'm never going to invest in stocks because I don't understand stocks. I'm just going to do real estate because I get real estate. But like as I started to build a social media presence and follow people like yourself, follow people like BWR,
shout out to
Todd,
T Mills,
right,
what up?
Master Investor, right, all these people who have all these different streams of income. I started to see that like that didn't have to be the way. I didn't
have to just be one way.
Like I can educate myself in more than one space and diversify my investment portfolio. And you know, most people that you pay attention to who are wealthy, whether they're white, black, or anything else, they've diversified their investment portfolio on some level, right? And so I spent some time just following people and studying what they do, and
add your own spin on it and rock out.
Bought courses, bought stock market courses. Like I sell courses, but I sell courses because I buy courses. Yeah. I'm a course junkie, dude. I got all kinds of courses that people put out, because that's people's lessons and things that they've learned and experiences that I don't have to go bump my head against the wall to figure out. I can pay $50, $100 and get somebody's life's worth of game. I'll do that.
If that ain't a win, I don't know how
I would do that. And so
people give me directly what they've done and what they've done right and wrong.
Right.
For usually under $500. I don't know how you beat that.
Course, I got a catalog of courses.
Good stuff.
And so I started doing that and learned about the stock market. And so the course sales were kind of just perfect timing, because I was like, look, I got this extra income. Why not put it in the stock market? And so now I've got this stock portfolio building itself. So the courses, help people make money. They make me money, and then that money goes in the stock market and makes me more money.
Everyone wins. You're a cold ass dude, man. You are a cold ass dude. What does the next year look like for you?
Oh man, that's a great question. So this year we are building out. I'm focused a whole lot on my e-commerce presence and the online offerings, right?
Nice.
And so the reason for that is, so when you put out a course or you have some content, right, at an entry level price point like that, kind of the rule of thumb is people are not just buying your courses, but they're buying you, right?
Yeah.
They're buying access to you. They like your energy. They like how you teach. They like what you teach, right? It's access to you and how you can help them. And so when you have a product, there's a percentage of those people who buy that product who want to buy more, who want more access to you, right? And so I'm focused on how do I provide those next levels of products for people who want them, because right now I'm underserving my community, right? Because there's people who want more from me and I don't have anything for them.
Gotcha.
Right. And it doesn't mean that they're just going to be like, oh, well, okay, they're just going to go get that somewhere else, right? And so you do yourself a disservice by not having a value ladder or a tier of products to provide to people, right? And you do your customers a disservice because they want what you have and you don't have it for them. Yeah. And so you're not providing the education that they need. And so we're focused on how to build out a value ladder, a tier of products that are going to educate people on a different level. And so if you just want to get in at the entry level, we've got the courses for you. That's great. But I've started a coaching program, and so I have a full-on coaching program. I've got right now just under 10 students that we're helping build their rental property portfolios, and then we're going to build some stuff kind of in between those two products to kind of help people.
Is that group coaching or separately?
It is a group coaching. Yep.
Smart. Man knows how to make $1 and how to change a life.
Yeah, man.
Arkansas legend. Get it out the mud. Get it out of love. Ooh, that was good too. Get it out of love.
There you go. That's it.
Shout out to Henry. Thanks for flying in. First person who's flew in for an interview.
Hey, man.
But not the last. Appreciate you, pimpin'. The Happy Great Podcast. Woo.
Yeah, I was looking with that Armstrong. We the band, man. I'm out chasing dreams, probably with the Sandman. They shift gramming them trends in. On the low, doing hand to hands.